Hey guys, it's Ivan from Indoor Ivan. Today I thought I would do a different kind of a video. We are outside, so I'm going to be giving you a garden tour of our front yard. So at the front of our garden, we don't have a whole lot. When we originally moved in, it was just a giant spirea bush and then a random wild grass that was growing. So we ended up taking out the wild grass that's here, and we put some variegated Solomon seal. I did plant some daffodils here, and I probably will put some more a little bit later. The spirea bush, I didn't get to it last year, so I kind of aggressively trimmed it back this year. It's starting to come up now, but we'll see how it looks. Further down towards the sidewalk, there was nothing here just because the bush was so far spread out. So there are two Shatsa daisies that are planted there. Those are the snow cap variety, so they'll grow about 12 inches tall, so that will be a nice height. Over here I did plant some hens and chicks, but they didn't do so well over the winter. I think all that snowfall and the mounds of snow kind of rotted out the center, so as you can see, that hen is now gone. Alright, so over on our other side, it's almost the same thing. We had a spirea bush that I had to hack back quite a bit just so that way it was more shaped. There's some Shatsa daisies that were originally here from the previous owners. These ones get a little bit taller at around 2 feet to 3 feet. There's a heuchera that was kind of planted in the middle. I just left it there because it's too hard to take out. Again, some daffodil bulbs that I planted, and then that wild grass that was here originally, I took that out, and there's some variegated Solomon seal there. So as we continue on, you take a look over here. Again, a lot more daffodils. A lot of these were planted here before with the previous owner, and I tend to like a lot of the spring flowers, so I've kept those and tried to plant a lot more. Our garden does focus a lot on spring flowering plants. So again, some hens and chicks, I planted these in just to fill in some of the gaps between our boulders because some of the plant material had died back. There is a Japanese maple here. It was nice to see that it got so tall, but unfortunately, if you take a look at the top, there was some winter damage, so it's going to have some hard time adding any height. So over the growing season, I'll see if I can bend any of these new growths to grow upwards to give it some added height. Further into the bed, there is a random iris here. This flower is purple. It is really close to the grass, unfortunately, so whenever the grass is cut, some of the leaves do get cut off. And inside, there are some random shrubs that were cut. I don't know what they were, but we're just trying to fill this area. So there is a Japanese painted fern that's starting to come up there, and I might get some more just to fill in this area. Further down, you can also see some lady's mantle. So there are some fairly mature and established clumps that are there. So as we continue on to the other side of the front garden, I planted over here a climbing hydrangea. It didn't do so well in its first year, so I'm hoping that it'll do better this year. It is planted beside a silver maple, so because it grows so fast, the bark does end up peeling, so I don't expect it to grow very tall as it climbs. So my goal is to have this climbing hydrangea kind of wrap around the trunk of this silver maple and kind of be like a little shrub. So continuing on, a lot of the daffodils and these shrubs here do repeat themselves quite a bit. They were here originally. As you can see, I did tuck in some new plants, so if you look behind the daffodil there is an astilbe that I planted there just because there is a big gap after the daffodils die back. In this area here, we do have some pink hydrangeas that come back. These bloom on old wood, so I'm forced to kind of leave a lot of the stem growth there. So these do bush out quite a bit and they do look nice. In this area, I did plant some daffodils. This spring and this summer, I might plant some annuals just to fill in this gap because once these die back, there is a lot of exposed mulch. Further down again, we have some lands here. This is a nice clump. I thought about dividing it. At some point, I might do that later in the season just to spread it out and to cover more of this front area. Again, some more astilbe growing there just to fill in a gap because when we moved in, there was a lot of empty space. Some heuchera that I planted. Sadly, the rabbits do get to the heuchera quite a bit. That one managed to survive quite well, and as you can see, there's new lighter colored growth there. Moving forward, again, more daffodils. There are daylily clumps that were here originally, so all of these plants along here were planted originally from the previous owners. I did add in some spring bulbs that I've kind of placed in there and some heuchera. One of my colleagues gave me some sweet woodruff, so there are 2 clumps of them in between the burning bush. My goal is just to have a living green mulch, so that way I don't have to buy mulch. So as you can see down here, this is one of the sad heuchera that didn't do very well. We do deal with squirrels and rabbits quite a bit, so if the rabbits don't eat the plants, the squirrels dig them up. So this has been dug up quite a few times, so it's kind of struggling to come back. And then again, another astilbe down there just to fill in some gaps. All of these kind of single bulbs of daffodils are ones that I planted just to fill in the garden bed because it's been kind of empty. As you can see further back, there is some foam flower plants that I kind of stuck in between the barberry bushes. They don't require as much sunlight, and I'm hoping that they'll spread and kind of cover that area there. And again, here are some heuchera that managed to survive the rabbits. There's a lot of empty space. My goal is to get more heuchera just to fill up that space, and that order of heuchera should be coming soon. This area is a work in progress. There's not a lot kind of going on here. We do have some hostas that I planted in to fill in the gaps that are here, but there is a lot of empty space around here. So my goal is just to fill in this area probably with some Jack the Pulpit and some other shade-loving plants. There are some random irises that have decided to grow and spread. These were here before, as well as the Annabelle hydrangeas that are at the back. So I cut those back quite a bit. So new growth should be coming from those soon. And then the last part of our garden, as we head this way, again, a lot of these yellow daffodils in the bigger clumps were planted here previously. A lot of the lighter colored daffodils, these were all the ones that I planted as part of my 300 bulb planting last fall. Around this tree, this is a English walnut, and it's quite large. It covers quite a bit of area. So once it's summer, this area is all shade. There are some daylilies here and some ostrich ferns that I planted. We'll see how far they decide to grow. And then some random hostas that will come up shortly. Again, more spirea bushes that were here when we moved in. These, I decided to really cut them back because they were kind of messy, and when it rained, they kind of flopped over and didn't look so great. So we'll see how those do. Back here, we only have one yew bush left. I think originally when the owners planted them, there were a lot more, but those have died back. So right now, there are just some ostrich ferns that I planted last year. My goal is for this back area to be more woodland-like. So there's some ostrich ferns that will be growing, and I'm hoping they'll naturalize in the area, as well as some mayapple. I will be planting a few more of those. So the idea is those will kind of fill in this area and naturalize. Alright guys, so that is the end of the front garden tour. I hope you enjoyed it. It was kind of a quick tour just to kind of see what's going on. A lot of the daffodils in the garden right now are kind of out of season. They're not in peak anymore, but I thought I would give you a quick tour. Anyways, until next time, bye!